but our gratitude to the frontline officers of Metropolitan Police Department and also the United States Park Police who ran into danger this morning to try and reduce the number of victims. I'll start from the top and go through quickly. Right now we're confirming at least 12 fatalities. We had a few additional folks who were injured. They were not fatally injured. We have additional officers that were injured, only one injured by gunfire at this point, some other injuries sustained by multiple different police agencies on the large response inside. We are officially now transitioning to an FBI lead. So the FBI will lead the investigation. The entire investigation will be processed and handled as a unified process. But with that said, any additional information that anybody might have that they want to share for the investigation, you can call 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. I have a slight update on the lookout for potentially 2 additional individuals involved in the shooting. The first is for a white male between 40 and 50 years of age, white male wearing a tan, what appears to be military uniform consistent with naval uniform and a beret-style hat. We also have a lookout for a black male between the ages of 40 and 50 in an olive military-style uniform. He is about approximately 5'10", 180 pounds, medium complexion with gray sideburns, graying sideburns. We have no indication of any motive at this time. We are updating and asking for family members. We know a lot of folks have cell phones and can contact family members, but if you're looking for contact with any of your family members that may have been inside of the Navy Yard today, NCIS has established a phone number now for reunification. That number is 202-433-6151. A secondary number is 202-433-9713. Right now we have an impact to the area. Obviously a large part of the area is still on lockdown. We're still asking residents to stay out of the area and remain in your home. We do feel like the area is safe. We do still have an active search for potentially additional suspects right now, so we're asking people to please remain in their homes and stay out of the area. Again, there's multiple agencies here. We've gotten support from a lot of our counterparts in the region, Maryland and Virginia, as well as all the federal agencies here in Washington, D.C. There are very, very few questions that we can answer at this point. Still a lot of information coming. We will be doing another update in 2 hours. I think at this point we would take a limited number of questions. We would ask, please, for your patience, and then we'll go from there. Who should stay home? We've asked people to stay out of the area around the Navy Yard. We have sent out text alerts to the residents around the area and asked them to please stay out of this area at this time until we send out an additional follow-up.
Why do you believe there were 2 additional potential shooters? Did they engage the officers, or were they seen, or what? How did this happen?
The question is why do we believe there's 2 additional suspects? Right now we have multiple pieces of information that would suggest that we have at least 2 other individuals that were seen with firearms. We know both of those individuals were wearing military-style uniforms, but that does not mean that we do not know if they are actually military employees. But these are people that we really believe that are involved in some way, and we're trying to locate those individuals. What about the shooter who was dead?
What can you tell us about the shooter who was dead?
I can't tell you anything at this point. I can't comment on anything related to anything on evidence or anything on the scene right now. I'll take 2 more questions.
Description of possible suspects, does that come from eyewitness or video camera footage?
I'm not going to comment on that. We have reason to believe that these people may be involved, and we need to talk to them.
Were there victims in more than one building, or did you find victims in different buildings as well?
I'll say this, we are still doing an extensive search. This is a large base. We've got multiple agencies and multiple teams. The remainder of this search could take another couple of hours, so we're not going to comment on the location of any evidence or anything like that, but what I'd say in the next 2 hours we do our next update. Our next briefing will be at 200 I Street. For those of you, so we are not here in the middle of the street, we want to clear out this area, so next briefing will be in 2 hours, 200 I Street, and we will try and answer more questions then if we can. That's all we can say right now. Thank you very much.
All right. This is starting to sound like it may be something other than what we originally thought in many ways. You know, the earlier reports were that there was a lone gunman, that he was shot on the scene. Then the suggestions that there was another gunman were being tamped down to some extent. But this is now the second time that we've heard from the D.C. police chief, who has come out and very clearly said that they continue to look for 2 more suspects in this case, describing one of them as a white male with a beret in military-style clothing, the other as a black man, both of them in the 40 to 50-year range. The black man was described as having graying sideburns. So these descriptions of these individuals are becoming more specific as the day goes on here. And, you know, what we initially thought might have been officers that were racing to the scene who may have been, you know, undercover or may have been not in full uniform, who people might have thought, oh, I just saw someone running by me with a gun. We thought there might be confusion there. It is sounding more and more like there is a concern on the part of the D.C. police that there could indeed be other shooters out there, which also leads us to question, and the first reporter asked this question. He said, wait, who is supposed to stay in place? Because if you've got potentially 2 other shooters in the D.C. area, a mile and a half from the White House and the Capitol building, you might expect, you know, sort of more broad specifics on a lockdown. But she said, people in this area, people in the area of this military installation, we are encouraging to stay at home. And the main building is still in lockdown in this facility where all of this got started. So I want to bring in Catherine Harrigan and get her thoughts on what we just heard here, Catherine.